No, it was
By the way, I've done a really good job so far, Monty. The show's been going for over 1 hour, and I've only alluded to it. I haven't even done a rant yet about TSM being shit again. Dude, even more players to bring in the shit. These guys are just fucking garbage. How did they do it? How did they do it every bloody... Because here's the thing, Monty. I even thought, like, look at the change they made. I thought these changes are half decent. Like, they should at least be, like, fourth or fifth fucking team. How are they even bottom of the table again? What is going on? How can they be second last after the first week?
It's funny too, because I was talking to Alorum on the watch party, and he was bigging up Maple. He said Maple's been playing in Champions Queue. He's been fucking crushing it. He's really a good mid laner. So I do think that this team probably has some issues in terms of synergy. I don't know when Maple got here. But they probably have to make some pretty big adjustments, considering they have a new mid laner and new support player. However, that doesn't stop their fucking ridiculous drafts. Like the first game of the split, it's like they didn't do anything in the offseason. They literally went back to they blind pick Rumble, and they go back to the Rumble Jarvan that they were running late last split. Remember, this is an entirely different pack.
Special, yeah.
And also, like, who the fuck are you going to catch in the Jarvan Rumble hold? First off, Jarvan is terrible into Wukong, like terrible. And you give up the Wukong. You can't catch Wukong in a Jarvan ult. Like, and even if you do and his W is down and there's literally no one to E outside of the Jarvan wall, he's just going to ult you in your own ult. Like, that's like the worst case scenario, and it's still pretty good for Wukong. And then, were you going to catch an Ahri? No. Are you going to catch Lucian? No. Are you going to catch an R? No. Are you going to catch the Nami? I guess, but like Nami can just ult in response
as well.
So like, who cares? Like, the whole thing was just a fucking disaster for them. I mean, they get completely bodied by CLG. It looks like they have a really strange read on the meta. We can talk about Tactical's individual performance. Like when they played against 100 Thieves, he was playing Ezreal and like forgot he had Flash and E and was just getting caught out with both of those abilities up multiple times. I mean, their play on an individual level was appalling. Their read on the meta
I've always said this about Tactical. One of the reasons I don't fuck with him is if anyone says, what are Tactical's champions? What's one of the first ones they always say, Monty? Ezreal, right? Think about when you yourself have ever played a game against an Ezreal. It's a nightmare. The fucker just escapes constantly. You can't ever get him down. This fucker never does that. He only goes in. He just goes in and dies. It's like, mate, you're the Ezreal, for fuck's sake. It's the most cancer champion to chase of all time. You don't even make me chase you. Fucking hell, mate. Give me a break.
I mean, I always thought Tactical was not very good and was getting completely boosted by Core.
He was on Team Liquid for sure, yeah. And by the way, I've always said this as well. You know the power of names, Monty? Don't call yourself Tactical if you fucking int in the game, you idiot. The joke writes itself. Tactical int. Exactly. You're making the jokes obvious. You don't even give yourself... It's like the guy who just came into LEC. His name is irrelevant. Mate, you better be the best player of all time. Because if I forget about you, what the fuck are you doing with your name? Fucking hell.
Let me just be a bit of the devil's advocate.
Come on.
I do love to shit on TSM. Don't get me
okay.
Everyone's right.
Yeah, sure.
To be fair, like, you know me, I love to shit on all the other 9 teams anyways, but TSM is part of them. But I do think that if you look at their schedule and what are the top 5 teams, I still think that they did show better than last split. It was hard, right? When last split they only beat Immortals.
Yes.
On their 3 wins, I think 2 were against Immortals.
And they should have lost both of those games.
And they should have lost both of those games. But this time, at least early game against 100 Thieves, it was okay, right? They beat Immortals again, but that's normal. And then they lost to the powerhouse CLG that is 3-0. So I actually do think that they only played from the bottom 5 teams. They only played against 1. Let's see next week. Actually, let me check the schedule. Who did they play?
I mean, look, we all know there's no way they can be worse than they were last week. Let me just give some hopium,
you know? Like just,
shit.
Next week they play us. Okay.
Okay, as a fan, I actually want them to at least be a playoff team, for fuck's sake. At least make the playoffs interesting. Because I can't handle when they do playoffs now in LCS. Every team's in it, and then it's like, no, let's just watch some teams get 3-0'd. Oh, cool, great. Let's see some teams. Oh, I am a fake team like Dignitas who pretended I could play League of Legends. Oh, exit stage left. Like, great. I'd rather have like a real skill team with like at least Maple and Uni have fucking played League of Legends before. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break. Because I have to say, that's the problem is this. You were doing so well shadow boxing and creating like the devil's advocate position, Guilhoto, until you mentioned that they got beat by, just go and look at it on Wikipedia. Go look at the roster of CLG boys. That roster on paper is never going to look good, is it? Like,
no. That roster is actually really good for this meta. That's what's weird about it.
Oh, you mean, right, okay.
Like, Palafox is primarily like a control mage player, right? He's a more cautious mid laner. And so, like, yeah.
Is he? I always saw him as like being a only play assassins, melee's champions.
Maybe years ago.
I mean, Palafox, a lot of the players that I've talked to consider him to be kind of like, Alorum referred to him as like NA power of evil, right?
Okay.
He's not as risky of a player in terms of his play style. So, like, I don't know. He definitely has that identity among the professional players.
Joke obviously being in the modern day power of evil's in a power of evil. We get the point, Aurorin. We get the point, mate. We get the point. It's all right. We get the point.
So, I mean, I think if you like a lot of his most played games this year have been like Vex, Victor, Twisted Fates, so far. So. I mean, I think if you look at Luger, who is definitely the highlight player of CLG and who did in fact carry them to wins last season, he's a player that can scale into the late game here. So CLG, I think, does have some inherent advantages in this meta.
I think for me, what I really like about CLG is that they are doing their own stuff. Like that's if you are a team that is supposed to be in the bottom, and that was usually kind of like my mentality when I was in that spot. You just have to find something that works for you and actually just disregard what is normal around the world. So
what do you think of their draft against TSM, mate? What do you think of that? It's interesting. It's where they had fucking...
It's interesting. I think it's a bit way too much on the poke side.
Okay.
If that's... It wasn't that the Nidalee TF Jace?
Yes.
Yeah, I
think it's a bit... we went like a little bit too overboard, but TSM's comp is really bad to play against range. I just think that they can like secure either mid jungle, something that provides better options for complementing the rest of the poke. But in my head, like pulling the Seraphine, playing some Severe, especially from bot, all this stuff that are coming out that are unique to them. Dokla Sphere of pulling some Callisto or Vayne that he was pulling in Academy last split. That's what I can like about CLG, is that they have their own stuff and they are doing it. Unlike a team like TSM, for example, where I guess we can play Rumble, which you can maybe see it as being their own thing, but it's so known and it's nothing unique that will actually never give you an advantage from the fact that you know how to play it exactly and fits your strengths. But the enemy team can have a hard time. That's why I think CLG is having some good success earlier on. I agree that the meta does fit them. But overall, I'm just really, really glad that there is this diversity coming into the LCS.
Yeah, and to go back for Palafox, I looked up his career statistics as a mid laner, and his most played champions are Orianna, Akali, Syndra, LeBlanc, Sylas, Victor, TF, Zoe, Azir. So it is a lot of long range.
Because here's the thing, I know where this dispute's coming from. He means, like, remember Palafox made his name in, like, Cloud9 Academy or whatever. Yeah, in Cloud9 Academy.
Yeah, Cloud9 Academy. Yeah,
that's why if people don't know the story is real, before they signed Perks, they were considering putting Palafox in the real Cloud9 team. But the point is, in LCS, he obviously hasn't been that player, has he? He's, like, sort of just resigned himself to just an average fucking player.
Yeah, because that's the season that I remember. It's more like his Cloud9 and season 11. Who was it? FlyQuest? Was it FlyQuest?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, where he would just like blind pick Yona literally every game. Was like Yona, Kali, Sylas.
You have to remember, Monte, he used to be on Immortals. These are the sorts of players he might have had to have one time.
I think you remember these games because he's played 5 Yone games and he has 100% win rate. But it has been he's played 200 games, right? So, but yeah, I think probably people remember him because he was pulling out these picks when they stick in your memory because they were not common. But for the most part, like a lot of his career has been on more standard mages.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
No,
it's either here nor there. He's been doing good on the mages. Like, we can agree on that.
Yeah. Especially, I think that the ones that I am liking to see him, especially also from scrims last split, is just more than the mages, like this skirmishes type champions that can roam and provide that mage, like the Vex and TF for me. From him, like and even the Talia now, right, that is showing up, and he had a really good game on him. Now that he has actually both sides with Dokla instead of Jenkins that he can play for, I think that this type of champion just do pretty well for him and for Contracts, to be fair, because Contracts last split was something else.
You want a fan
of Contracts last split?
Mate, I can't handle y'all. I can't handle y'all in the LCS, because here's the problem, Monty. You can verify this, mate.
Really.
Remember last year when Contracts came in late to Evil Geniuses? You remember that when they were subbing out Svenskar and they put Contracts in? You and Peter Dunn and all the rest of you fucks all told me he was brilliant and great. I just said, go on then, sign him to your team long term. Play with him. What did it do? As always, the fucking mate. He shouldn't be on a team like EG though. That's the problem. Like, this is the sort of team he should be on. He can be on the bottom of the LCS. There you go. Aside from that, fuck right off Contracts. I'll see you play your.
He's on the top of the LCS after 1 week.
Yeah, for week one. There's a comment. What do you think?
He did play. They did play. I mean, we do have to pump the brakes because their opponents were Dignitas, TSM,
they had the week schedule, of course,
and Golden Guardians. So
okay, what is the actual expectation for CLG then, Guilhoto? What should we expect this split? Do you think?
5th-6, yeah. I think that 5th-6 is a realistic expectation. I would put him maybe more towards 5th because it's hard to find a 5th. No, like it's very easy to see that top 4 will be between Team Liquid Honda, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, and EG.
Yes.
But after what is the 5th one after this, right? From this week that we have seen, and to be fair, so far has been CLG. So I think that will be like there, maybe one below if FlyQuest puts the gears. But I think the only team that I see cannot reach to the 5th, 6th place, at least right now, is Dignitas. That looks bad.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.